Yeah, well, let's take the body off and I'll show you what's underneath it.
Right, a bit of luck if we get it right. I'll give that to the mechanics. Thanks very much.
As you can see, the unit's powered by a 250cc water-cooled motorcycle engine. It's capable of something like about 145 mile an hour, this machine.
In fact, looking at this, you're almost lying down, in fact, when you're driving it, aren't you?
You're very prone position, and because your backside's only half an inch off the tarmac, which is can be dodgy at times on bumpy circuits.
Now, just looking at the wheels, like the Formula One cars, they're actually slick, aren't they? There's no tread on them.
Yeah, the tyres in karting have nearly always been slick tyres. In fact, they were developed in karts for Formula Ones. Formula One today, a lot of their technology, of tyre technology, is based on what's come from karts. And indeed, we have the same compounds, we have the same compound troubles as they have. The speeds that we're doing, it's like a Formula One doing 350 mile an hour in its tyres, maybe. So tyres are as important to us as they are to Formula One.
Is it uncomfortable?
Yeah, because there's virtually no suspension whatsoever. So you can imagine every vibration's going through you. But I suppose over the years your body becomes resilient to it, so you don't sort of...
Yours has it?
Yeah.
Now, what about this fantastic road holding that they have?
Obviously, the centre of gravity is so low. There's no other vehicle where your backside's half an inch off the ground. And as you can see, the engine's so low, everything is so low, the tyres are so small, no air can get underneath it, it's so low. With the bodywork, it gives you nice ground effects, you have wings and so on. It really is like glue on a circuit.
Now, I know you're very proud of saying, aren't you, that most of the people in Formula One driving now actually started on machines like this?
Yeah, I mean, say most of them start in the 100cc type carts, like junior drivers use, and they go on from there. This really is our own form of Formula One that we have developed in karting, rather than using it as a stepping stone.
All right. Well, it looks uncomfortable. We'll let you put the top back on, and best of luck in the race.
Thank you very much.
Of this 8-lap Grand Prix, the 250 national class here at Silverstone for these karts. And they'll have a rolling start. That's one of the competitors who's gone out on the left, non-start for him. Front row of the grid is Mark Allen, then Robert Johnson, then Michael Fowler, then Dale Cousins, and then Charles Eddy. And it's a rolling start. The clerk of the course, Robert Langford, has pulled off. They'll get the flags. And if you've never seen this before, this is really spectacular. There are 47 karts on the circuit at Silverstone. And they get the go, the green light, and now it's a mad dash down the straight to the first bend, Klopp's corner, and to try and take the lead. But don't be misled by whoever comes out in front, because whoever it is, the lead will change hands many, many times during the 23.5 miles that this 8-lap race here at Silverstone will cover. Down through Maggots, and then very quick down towards Beckett's, braking very, very late. And this corner, one of the slowest on the circuit, must be taken as smoothly as possible, otherwise it cuts out speed for Hanger Straight, which is still to come. And that's Mark Allen in the lead, the Grand Prix winner from 12 months ago. And it looks like 29, Robert Johnston from Berwick-upon-Tweed, who's in second place. Well, Johnson has just come through there. He's 32, a garage foreman who took up karting in about 1976. And the GP plates there on the white cart denote that Mark Allen, the 30-year-old garage owner from Shrewley, was the Grand Prix winner 12 months ago. Now, they're averaging about 105 miles an hour for their laps here around Silverstone, and they've got a top speed of around 130. And again, Carolyn, the lead changing hands, and we'll see a lot of that.
Oh yes, this is the name of the game in karting, as many changes of the lead as possible. In fact, what they're using is KTM engines, and they're not really suited to kart racing at all, more like industrial engines, and they certainly sound like it. They rev to 10,000, and they vibrate like mad the whole way around, sometimes so much the driver can't even see the end of the straight.
And through the straight, across the finishing line for the first time, and it's still this remarkable man, Robert Johnson, who raced well at Cadwell, and he's appeared on the karting circuit virtually from nowhere. He occupied second row on the front row of the grid alongside Mark Allen, who we expected to be there, but certainly not Robert Johnson. And it looks to be a battle between these two for supremacy in this race. Now, these drivers, let me tell you, are actually almost lying flat in these karts. They're sitting in a seat which is shaped around the buttocks, the legs fully extended into the front of the cowling in front of them, and the pedalling is just as it would be in an ordinary motor car, with clutch, throttle and brake in the middle. And the gear lever is mounted alongside the steering wheel, so the driver doesn't actually have to take his hands off the wheel to change gear, and you can't go from first to third or second to fourth. You have to progress through the gears one after another, and as you push the gear lever forward, so you go up a gear, and if you want to decelerate, then you merely bring the gear lever back towards you and it changes down a gear. And still this duel between Johnston in the dark kart and Mark Allen in the white for first place, and they're quite a long way of the battle behind them now, which is for second place between Michael Fowler and it looked like Neil Bolton from Stockport.
Yes, it's pretty unusual to see a complete newcomer, a name we haven't seen at all, number 29, Rob Johnston. In fact, all the other drivers in the class aren't very sure how to treat him at all. He seems to be fairly erratic. Perhaps it's because he's not used to being up the front so much. But Mark Allen, I'm sure, can handle him. Mark's a very hard driver. He pushes hard. He'll show him the way around in the end.
What a duel this is for the lead. And just looking at the points table in the British Championship for the 250 national class, Robert Johnson doesn't have a point, although 4 of the 6 races in that series have been run. He doesn't yet have a point. Mark Webster has 27 points. Mark Allen, with the GP plates there, has 16. So it's a sign of the progress that this man has made in a relatively short time, that he's able to lead in this Grand Prix here at Silverstone. Now, for the karters, this circuit is really fast. Of course, it's quite long. It's just under 3 miles in total length. And these machines, with their remarkable ability to grip the surface of the road, they're so low slung, there's no suspension on the chassis. The clearance above the ground is only about an inch, and sometimes they go around the bends almost as if they're on rails. And it's quite a remarkable experience to actually drive one of these around the circuit and realize that you can take corners faster and tighter than you can in any other sort of vehicle. As confirmation of the places, Johnston, who leads from Allen, and Michael Fowler from Upton Bicester, kart number 36, still in third place. Then Allen now just behind Robert Johnston. The lap marker shows 3 laps to go. 23.5 miles, 8-lap race to decide the 1986 British Grand Prix title. And there seems little doubt at this stage it'll be one of these two who take it as they approach Maggots. And still the battle for third place behind them was between Michael Fowler and Neil Bolton. And also moving up through the field had been David Griffiths, the builder from Milford Haven, who's now in 5th place.
It's when you're driving one of these karts, your head is only about 2.5 feet off the ground. You get a rather strange perspective of the circuit. Sometimes you think there's just no corner at all there. There's just a big expanse of tarmac. It's very difficult to see the apex.
Tremendous acceleration that these machines are capable of. And this is a sport, let me hasten to point out, in which many of today's Grand Prix drivers first started out in the sport, and there's been a spin-off there, kart number 55. That's Colin Mitchell from London, who's on his feet there. That's him with the helmet, looks a little bit shaken, but over the safety barriers. And still the duel for the lead. As they go around Abbey, down the fast section, the drop towards the Delhi Express Bridge, and then round through Woodcote, and this time they'll see 2 laps to go, and the lead is changing hands continually.
Yes, and about this stage of the race, the driver's starting to think about his tyres. A set of tyres will only last one meeting, and in a race like this, they're probably going to start wearing very badly about now. He's going to look at the kart in front of him to see how his tyres are wearing. If they're wearing badly, he knows his are doing the same.
And just looking back down the field as they went past the pits there, car number 14, driven by Steve Matthews from Northampton, has moved up into 4th place behind Michael Fowler, who's 3rd. But still the battle for the lead between Mark Allen and Robert Johnston. Well, what a feather it will be in the cap of the 32-year-old man from Berwick-upon-Tweed if he can win this Grand Prix, because he has appeared almost from nowhere in this class. And you can see the lead that they've established as they come down Hanger Straight. The two leaders already around Stowe, and way behind them, 1, 2, 3, 6 carts battling for the second and third places. And Steve Matthews, 14, has continued his progress, although he looked as though he'd lost out there to Michael Fowler. But it's Fowler who misses out as they go round Club. Now into Abbey, the two leaders. Very bumpy part of the course here. The carts thrown about, slip around that left-handed bend, full throttle, full revs, and the Brave can take Woodcote without changing down and without touching the brakes.
Yes, and I think Mark Allen is just sitting there. He's going to save his engine for the last lap. He now knows that he can actually get in front of him between Woodcote Corner and the flag, and he's going to save his engine on this last lap. I think we're going to see a last lap dive.
So 1 lap to go in this British Grand Prix for the 250 national class. Still the lead disputed by Johnston and Allen, who have established a massive lead over the battle for second and third place. And that's cart number 44, which has moved up, David Griffiths from Milford Haven, who's twice been a winner of the Grand Prix here at Silverstone, but that was a long way back in 1978 and 79. Trying hard there not to let Johnson get too far ahead of him. He want to stay behind him, he want to slipstream, and I think he'll be content on this last lap just to follow Robert Johnston around and to sit on his tail, and then as they come into Woodcote for the last time, he'll try to slipstream him. He'll turn out either right or left and shoot past him in the last 100 metres to the checkered flag.
As you saw Johnson pull over to one side of the circuit, then I think he wanted Mark Allen to go past. He wanted to sit behind him at the last lap. So I think he's just sitting there waiting, definitely.
So the speed might drop off just a little bit here as each man waits for the other one to take the lead, because Robert Johnson will know it's a converse situation, that if he leads going into the final bend, then he's really in the secondary position. And Allen's now dropping back quite a bit, and he's probably had some sort of engine trouble, and that means his race is run. He's let Robert Johnson get too far ahead of him. He seems to have found the revs again, but the gap's far too big. It's Robert Johnson who wins the Grand Prix, and last year's winner, Mark Allen, finishes in second place. Now, did he make a mistake there on that final half a lap, or did he lose power?
Well, he looked like he was having trouble with the gears, because he was bending down over the front of the cart. I would say his gear selector's broken. He was stuck in top gear.